I'm excited to have you here and to offer this opportunity for you to learn more about the art of creating a professional digital presence online. It's a topic that I am super passionate about. Social media, I believe, is a really powerful tool for the art therapy community to use. And I hope that what follows in the next 30 minutes or so is helpful for you to learn about different strategies or ideas of how to develop a presence online that is beneficial not only for you as an individual professionally, but also for the field at large. So welcome again, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you. So I thought it would be really helpful to begin this presentation with a brief overview of some of the topics and content that I will be covering. This lecture presents how art therapists can create a strong professional digital presence through the use of social media, including practical suggestions to help minimize potential risks and strategies to help empower an art therapist's digital presence with professional responsibility and cultivating a presence online that aligns with your professional work, passions, values, and career interests. I also have a few experientials that you are invited to participate in to further explore the topics being covered. So let's get started. We're first going to look at digital ecosystems. A digital ecosystem is how web-based sources, sites, and activity online interact and connect to one another. I want you to reflect on how you use social media both personally and professionally, thinking about what social media sites you use, for what purpose do you use those sites, and who or what do those sites connect you to. And if you're looking at your professional and your personal sort of activity, how are they different or how are they the same? So you can create an image of your digital ecosystem if you would like to make art about this topic. You can also create this in the form of a mind map if organizing the content in that way would be helpful. I have examples of two mind maps that I created focused on my personal digital ecosystem as well as my professional. I feel that doing art or sort of looking at this visually can be a great assessment to understand and explore more of how we use social media online. So this next section is on e-professionalism. E-professionalism is really important because how one's digital behavior, such as communication style and what we post on social media, can have an influence on outside perception, and as a result, really impact not only our individual career reputation, but also our affiliations and the profession at large. This is addressed in the Art Therapy Credentials Board Code of Conduct under the section focused on responsibility to the profession. Art therapists are accountable at all times for their behavior. They must be aware that all actions and behaviors of the art therapist reflect on professional integrity and, when inappropriate, can damage the public trust in the art therapy profession. To protect public confidence in the art therapy profession, art therapists avoid behavior that is clearly in violation of accepted moral and legal standards. This image captures important considerations to think more about in regards to the probable influence and power of our social media presence, both positively and negatively. Effects of the content and behavior that we share through social media can easily and quickly spread, often sometimes outside or beyond the audience that it was originally intended for, which is why it's really important to think more sort of about this cycle. An important concept to look more at is the online disinhibition effect. This is an influence of an individual's behavior online that's impacted by the use of computer-generated communication. The challenges of this effect and how it relates to social media can lend itself to a lack of restraint, a sense of detached awareness, and accountability for our judgment or our actions online. We may choose to do things in the virtual space that we would never do in person, and this change in judgment can influence our behavior and our conduct. In addition, that the Art Therapy Credentials Board added earlier this year to its code includes how art therapists respond or post to social media, and making sure that that is in line and reflective of the ethics and conduct that are identified for credentialed art therapists, which I think is really important related to this effect. Some suggestions to avoid the pitfalls of toxic online disinhibition, and I think a really good rule of thumb for social media in general related to professionalism is to have an awareness to slow down and pause while you're engaging online. To take time to be mindful and think things through, and to choose to respond mindfully versus reacting. And if that includes navigating away or taking a break before responding or any actions made, that can be helpful as well. Another challenge that we can face as art therapists includes boundaries. The Art Therapy Credentials Board cites that art therapists who maintain social media sites shall clearly distinguish between their personal and professional profiles by tailoring information specific to those sites and modifying who can access each site. To help with this, I wanted to offer a few sharing strategies for your consideration to think more about related to developing a professional digital presence. The first is the audience strategy. This form of sharing includes having distinct separate networks, one for colleagues, coworkers, or work-related contacts, and another network for only family and friends that are not associated with your work life. Using this type of strategy creates a clear boundary to share work-related content as well as connect with colleagues on professional platforms only. It also avoids or decreases potential situations or awkward mishaps that can happen where content can be perceived as unprofessional, create an opportunity for misinterpretation, or maybe a moment of oversharing related to your personal life. Examples of implementing this type of strategy includes redirecting work-related contacts to connect on professional networking sites such as LinkedIn, or for you to create a completely separate professional profile or page. Next is the content strategy. I feel that this is the strategy that I use in relation to my communication and digital presence on social media. People that use this strategy are really mindful of the content that is shared on each platform. Our therapists who use this strategy are actively committed to avoiding social media use for the purposes or activities that could be perceived as unprofessional or could become susceptible to judgment or out of context interpretations. A challenge of this strategy could be, for some, that it could feel limiting or censoring in regards to using social media for open self-expression of emotions, thoughts, and experiences. And finally, there is the customized strategy. This involves creating specialized lists to manage both your content and the intended audience. Users on Facebook, for example, use this strategy by setting up customized lists that post content to only certain groups of connections. You can create a customized list for only sharing updates and information with colleagues or professional connections related to your work. This section specifically focuses on the positive potential of social media and how art therapists can use this to leverage their professional digital presence. Social media can be an effective tool to add a voice of authority about the benefits of art therapy and strengthen its value and appreciation. Social media is a great way to support, promote, empower art therapy, as well as be a voice for its benefits and importance. In addition, social media can broadcast important information about and promote the profession of art therapy. Social networking can generate conversations and interaction about topics such as what art therapy is, the benefits of art therapy, and how art making in the creative process is therapeutic and healing. It can also provide education about how to become an art therapist, the necessary requirements for training, and how to access help from a qualified art therapist. Especially as a small and specialized profession, we can professionally leverage the reach of social media to increase understanding about the application of art therapy for the populations and settings we serve. And finally, social media use can have an affirming and positive contribution to the profession and the work of art therapists. It can create education and awareness to other important stakeholders in healthcare, mental health, public policy, and allied professions or agencies that are unfamiliar with or uneducated about what art therapy practice entails. Have you seen examples of these areas on social media for art therapy? What were they and what platforms did they use? Next, I want you to think about your own digital presence using social media and thinking about how could social media fit into your professional goals and what you post and share online. So take some time to review the following information. I've put together a digital presence needs worksheet for you to use to further explore and take a closer look at different areas related to developing a presence online as an art therapist. You are encouraged to complete this worksheet. Some of the areas that it goes over includes your looking at your values, your strengths, your interests as an art therapist, that perhaps you can use social media to help promote or bring awareness to. How the ways that you want to use social media as an art therapist, the different social media platforms that you would like to use or you're interested in, or perhaps you want to strengthen or enhance. Also thinking about what kind of content, also known as digital assets, that you would like to develop or create or expand or develop more if you already have some of those things. Another area that I think is really important to consider when you're creating platforms or wanting to develop those further on social media is ideas or kind of a basic plan or brainstorming about how to sustain that content. To create a profile or a page or a site actually, I think, is the easier part. It's sort of maintaining it over time that can be really difficult. So thinking about ideas such as scheduling or different content ideas that you are interested in sharing, just to kind of give yourself an idea of what you could do with it in the future. Also important to think about is what type of sharing strategy do you want to use for your content. So looking at the different sharing strategies that we explored earlier, and is there one that fits for you? And finally, think about what are your outcome goals? What results do you hope for related to having a digital professional presence online? And what audiences do you hope to reach with that presence? And also taking a look at what's been really helpful for you and also challenging in developing your digital presence. The last area that we're going to look at is digital footprints, and we're going to create some art about this topic. A digital footprint is the trail of activity and data that we leave behind online as a result of using the internet. So I want you to think about how you view your existing digital footprint currently. How do you think others might view it when they see it? And then how would you like your digital footprint to be seen as an art therapist? You can create this as 3 different images, sort of present, how others see it, and then future. Or you can create it as one image divided maybe into 3 different sections. I think that creating art about this topic can give a whole new awareness about the things that we've explored throughout our time together today. You can use whatever materials you feel would best communicate or explore this topic. You can do a drawing, you can do it as a collage, 3-dimensionally, whatever is the best way for you. As this presentation comes to a close, I wanted to leave you with a checklist reviewing some of the ideas and concepts that were addressed today. I think the biggest takeaway that I want you to remember is to make intentional, mindful choices about how and what you share on social media, and really using a sense of awareness and mindfulness before you make the decision to post content. Another takeaway that I think really relates to the first two is having an awareness of your digital footprint, not only as an individual and how that impacts you, but also really thinking about the bigger effect that all of our digital footprints can have on the field of art therapy and the profession as a whole. And lastly, thinking about what the content we're sharing on social media is communicating about art therapy. Us as art therapists, or you as an art therapist, and the power and influence of social media's reach and impact in this. It was a pleasure to be able to present this content to you today. I wanted to leave you with some resources and references for you to look at if you want to explore any of the topics that we addressed today further. I hope that our paths will cross online, and best wishes for all your endeavors related to art therapy.